I stood in the doorway of our bedroom on a Thursday in January of 2024, watching my husband Kenneth unpack into the dresser we bought in 1987. His hands were shaking. So were mine. We were both 68 years old, married for 40 years. We had lived in separate cities for 7 years. And now, after 2,555 days of phone calls and video chats and careful distance, we were trying to remember how to share the same physical space. I am Claudia Jean Porter. I live in Atlanta, though for 7 years I lived alone in Charlotte, North Carolina, while Kenneth stayed here in the house where we raised our daughters. People thought we were heading toward divorce. We told them we were just giving each other space. The truth was more complicated and more dangerous. We had turned distance into a religion, and by the time we realized what we were worshiping, we had almost lost everything that mattered. Independence can become the most seductive prison you will ever build, and you will not even notice the bars until you are so isolated that you have forgotten how to reach through them. Before you think this is about a bad marriage or infidelity, stop right there. Kenneth worked 38 years as an electrician for the city of Atlanta. He never cheated. He never raised his voice. We raised 2 daughters who are now grown with families of their own. By every measure, we had a successful marriage. But around year 33, we stopped fighting for closeness and started settling for comfortable distance. And that distance, which felt like freedom at first, eventually became the thing that was killing us both. What I learned after 7 years apart is this: you can be married and still be completely alone. And chosen distance is more dangerous than being single, because at least when single, you know you are supposed to feel lonely. You are probably in a relationship where you have mastered existing without sharing a life. Living in different places, telling yourselves the distance is temporary, practical. There is a point where independence stops being healthy and starts being a way to hide from the hard work of actually knowing another person. Let me tell you how this started. It did not begin with a fight. It began with a reasonable decision. In 2016, we were both 60. Our youngest daughter had just moved out. Then my mother got sick in Charlotte, 4 hours away, early Alzheimer's. She needed help. My sister lived in California. I made what seemed practical: go to Charlotte temporarily, get my mother stable, come home. Kenneth supported it. Go take care of your mama. I will be fine. March of 2016, I packed 2 suitcases, thinking 3 months. I rented a condo near my mother's facility. Kenneth and I talked every night, video chatted Sundays. I came home monthly. Nothing dramatic happened. That is the problem. My mother stabilized, but by then, 8 months had passed, and I had gotten used to it. I had my own routine: book club, coffee shop friends, a whole life without Kenneth. easier than expected. Kenneth did the same in Atlanta. Workshop restoring radios, poker night, the house organized his way. When I visited, I felt like a guest. Instead of talking about me coming back, we just let it continue. 3 months turned into 6, 6 into a year turned into 7. For the first few years, it felt like we had discovered a marriage secret nobody else knew. We missed each other enough to appreciate our time together, had our own space, no arguing about trash or television, pleasant phone conversations. But we were not talking about fear, not talking about loneliness, not how comfortable we had become separately. I had a friend, Loretta Washington. Her husband died of a heart attack in 2018. She was 66. She said, "What I miss most is not romance. I miss the sound of someone breathing in the house, having someone to tell about the weird thing the clerk said, making too much food because I forgot I was cooking for one." Something in my chest tightened. Kenneth and I were both alive, both married, yet I lived exactly the life Loretta described. But I still did not go home. Going home meant giving up the life I built, meant being vulnerable, meant conflict and friction every day. Distance was my comfort zone. By year 5, nightly phone calls became every other night, then twice weekly. Monthly visits stretched to every 6 weeks, then every 2 months. September 2021. A patient at work brought her newborn. The baby grabbed my finger. I felt this rush, thinking about when our daughters were that small. I called Kenneth to share it. He answered distracted, fixing something in the garage. "That is nice, honey. Can I call you back?" He did not call back. I did not remind him. That became the pattern. The breaking point came December 2022. Kenneth had chest pains that turned out to be anxiety. Severe enough, our daughter Simone took him to the ER at 2 a.m. Nobody called me. I found out the next afternoon when I called for our regular video chat. He mentioned it casually. I was furious. Not because he did not call, but because it had become so normal to handle major events separately. "You were in the emergency room and did not think to call me? I did not want to worry you. You were 4 hours away. What were you going to do?" We had built a life where my physical presence in his crisis was unnecessary. You may think we should have divorced, but we were not unhappy with each other. We loved each other. The problem was not that we did not love each other. We had forgotten how to actually be with each other. February 2023, almost 7 years after I left, Kenneth drove to Charlotte, not scheduled. Showed up Tuesday afternoon, knocked, and when I opened the door, he had tears in his eyes. "Claudia, I miss you. Not the person I talked to on the phone. I miss you. The you I woke up next to. The you I ate breakfast with. I miss your actual presence." I started crying. I missed him the same way. The smell of his cologne. The sound of him humming, making coffee. Falling asleep next to someone who knew all my stories. We sat on my couch and had the most honest conversation in years. We admitted we had let comfort become more important than intimacy. We admitted we had been hiding. We admitted that if we did not change, we would spend the rest of our lives as married strangers. Nobody tells you that reuniting after years apart is not romantic. It is awkward and difficult. We decided in March 2023 I would move back to Atlanta. My mother had passed the previous year, but I did not move immediately. 7 years of independence terrified me. I had built an identity having nothing to do with being Kenneth's wife. Kenneth felt the same. His systems, his freedom. Worried having me back would feel like invasion. We went to couples therapy. At 68, after 40 years, we sat in a therapist's office, relearning communication. She asked what we were afraid of. Kenneth said losing his independence, workshop time, sense of self. I said the exact same thing. Then she asked, what are you more afraid of losing, your independence or each other? That is when we both knew we had to try. I moved back January 2024, 8 months ago. I will be honest about how hard it has been. The first month was brutal. Forgotten how to share space. Kenneth loaded the dishwasher his way. I had mine. He liked the thermostat at 68. I liked 72. Everything required negotiation. Nights I cried, missing my quiet condo where everything was mine. Mornings, Kenneth stayed in his workshop for hours. We argued more in 3 months than in the entire 7 years apart. Distance had kept us polite, but I learned that friction, that discomfort, sharing space with another imperfect human, that is where real intimacy lives, not in pleasant phone calls, but in the daily mess of coexisting. Last week, I woke with a migraine at 3 a.m. Kenneth heard me, got up, brought water and medication, sat with me in the dark. This moment of being cared for in weakness, this is what I missed for 7 years. You cannot get this through a phone screen. I am 68 now. Kenneth is 68. We do not know how much time we have. 10 years? 20 if lucky. We spent 7 choosing independence over intimacy because intimacy was harder. You are probably in some version of this trap. Separate bedrooms, separate friend groups, separate lives overlapping only for scheduled dinners. Convinced this distance is healthy. There is a difference between having your own interests and building such separate lives you become roommates who happen to be married. Comfort is not the same as connection. If I could go back to 2016, I would still help my mother, but I would not stay 7 years. I would have hard conversations sooner. Love is not just a feeling. It is a practice. And you cannot practice it from 250 miles away. All I can do is be here now. With this man, I am relearning how to love in close proximity. It is hard. Some days I miss the ease of Charlotte, but I do not miss the loneliness. Going to bed alone, experiencing my life as a story I tell someone later, instead of sharing in real time. Look at your relationship. Are you choosing distance because it protects you from intimacy? Building separate lives because shared life is too hard? What are you more afraid of losing? Your comfortable independence or the person you promised to share your life with? Do not wait 7 years. Do not wait until 68 to realize time is running out. Start the hard conversations today. Move closer instead of farther. Choose the messy work of intimacy. When you are alone in the dark at 3 a.m. with nobody there, you will realize that all the independence you fought to protect was never worth more than the simple comfort of not being alone. Kenneth just called asking if I want coffee. 7 years ago, I would have been making my own coffee, completely independent and completely alone. Today, I am saying yes. Sharing coffee with someone who knows how you like it, who remembers your stories, who has chosen to share space despite the friction. That is worth more than all the independence in the world. If this made you think about your relationship, leave a comment. Are you choosing distance or closeness? Why? If you know someone hiding behind independence when they need connection, share this. Sometimes we need permission to move closer. I have coffee waiting and a husband I am still learning how to live with all over again. That is exactly where I want to be.